So driving in Japan is very easy and it's very simple, but there's a few things you might want to know before you drive for the first time. I've been living in Japan for about 12 years. I've been driving a good portion of those years, and I learned the hard way with a few tickets what to do and what not to do. Anyway, here's some things to know. First sign I want to talk about is the stop sign. The stop sign in Japan sometimes is written only in Japanese. So yeah, but it's basically a red triangle means that means stop. There's going to be a white line on the road. You're supposed to stop before you hit that line, full stop, and completely motionless. Then you can drive forward and look both ways to make sure you're not going to crash before you pull out. So that's one. It sometimes is in English as well nowadays. Japan's updating the signs a lot. The other sign you might see is a give way sign. It also is a triangle. Basically stop for that too. Just slow down for those signs. Some other signs you're going to see the do not enter sign. You cannot drive down that street basically. It's probably a one-way road. So that's the same as anywhere else in the world. There's a lot of one-way roads in Japan, especially when you're in Tokyo. You could almost split this tutorial to when you're in Tokyo and when you're not in Tokyo. But still, that's something to look out for. There's a lot of roads around Tokyo where there's no right turn. You can only go straight. So you find you're driving around blocks to get to the places you have to go. Watch out for Google Maps in that case, because sometimes it might tell you can turn and you can't. So you got to be watching the road signs. Other signs you're going to see is no parking. This is very common all throughout Japan. You'll see the sign with a double X. That means you basically cannot stop in that section at all. There might be like a yellow stripe on the road as well. There's no stopping. If there's one dash, you can stop for 5 minutes. You're supposed to stay in a vehicle, but if you need to check your maps or you need to wait to pick someone up, then 5 minutes and you're okay. Apart from that, there's parking. But keep in mind, if you're in Tokyo, pretty much all parking you have to pay for. So yeah, you probably be paid at a meter. For parking signs, they're the P. The P is usually in Tokyo. There's lots of paid parking on the side of the streets. It's great because it's cheaper than the official parking lots you have to park into. Parking lots in Japan have a little flap which comes up, locks your car in. Some of them are camera activated. Some of the car parks you drive into, it's a carousel. If it is a camera operated one, they will fine you if you drive away. They've got your details. They'll send it, if you're renting a car, they'll send it to the rental car company, and then you'll be fined anyway. Some of the signs have numbers on top, 8 o'clock till 20, which is 8 to 8. After that, even in Tokyo, a lot of the parking's free at night time, even on weekends in some spots, but basically nighttime is usually free. What else we got? Coming here from Australia or England, there's no roundabouts in Japan. So it's all traffic lights. If you're in Tokyo, there's traffic lights all the time, everywhere. If it's a green arrow going forward, you can only go forward. You can't turn left like you can in some other countries at that point. You have to wait for the green arrow left. Trains, when you get to the train tracks, if a train, you have to drive up to the line, stop, look both ways, then proceed across. If the tracks are coming down, there's more lights, there's a bit more commotion going on there. One other thing, little bonus tip, which could be interesting for some people. In Japan, people use the hazard lights a lot. One, if you're on a motorway and you're driving fast and you see the car in front of you use the hazard lights, it means the traffic's probably built up in the front. I'm just giving you a warning that you need to start slowing down. It's also used as like a sumimasen, like excuse me. So if you cut somebody off, you press the hazard lights. Or if someone lets you in, it's like a thank you, then you use it like that too. The only other thing to cover would be the ETC, like the toll roads. So when you drive onto a toll road, you can't just drive through, like you'll see all the traffic just drive straight through the purple ETC sign. ETC is actually a chip, a card you put into your car, which calculates how much you've driven around Japan. There's toll roads all throughout Japan. If you don't have one of those cards, you've got to pay by cash. So there's always a purple sign and there's a green sign. If you drive up to the green area, you can pay in credit card. It's just very slow, so best to keep lots of cash with you. And then you just pay the attendant. Sometimes they give you a ticket and you pay later. Some rental companies, we run a camper van rental business. We rent the the ETC card to our customers so they can use it. It saves a lot of money. You actually don't have to pay as much when you're traveling. They discount it, and it's way quicker and easier. So the Freeways I got tickets in Japan. The first one was I didn't stop long enough at the stop sign. It was in my local area. I knew there's no one around, and I kind of did a slow roll through. I got a ticket for that. The second one was turning left on a green arrow going forward. I should have waited for the green arrow at the traffic light turning left. The third one was actually at the traffic lights. I drove over a yellow line to get in the correct lane when I should have just kept going forward and turned later. So yeah, the police here are super cool. They're very professional. It's always pretty fair when they do charge you. If you're from overseas and you do not have a driver's license here, and you just drive a car anyway, that's a really bad big punishment. Could be jail time. It goes on your criminal record. So yeah, you don't want to play games with that. Like, you have to have a license, and before you come to Japan, make sure it's like the correct one. If it's from Commonwealth nations, it's usually the AA you can pick it up from. But check the if you check dreamdrive.life and check out our facts section, you can learn about. We have a good link for where you can learn about how to get the correct driver's license depending on where you come from. The other one is drinking and driving. Like, Japan is 0 tolerance. You cannot drink anything and drive. And of course, like, driving with your phone, like anywhere else in the world, is a penalty. You can put your phone on the dash and use Google Maps. That is okay, but you can't be touching it or playing or watching anything. It's just for like navigation purposes. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, please put in the comments.